Right now, there's a crane company in Australia where the mechanic pulls out their phone, fills out an inspection form, and a PDF report is automatically generated, saved to the drive, and the service record updates itself. So there's no paperwork, you're not chasing any reports, and there's definitely no missed deadlines. But up until a month ago, they were doing all of this with spreadsheets and paper. That's a real company right here in Sydney, and that system is running right now. Today, we're breaking down exactly how we built it. Now, let's be clear, this is not a demo. This is a live system inside a Sydney crane and rigging company, and it's running across their fleet, from cranes, EWPs, forklifts, and any other types of plant or equipment across multiple construction sites in New South Wales. So in this video, you're gonna see the exact setup, the database structure, the automations, the maintenance and compliance tracking, and the inspection form to PDF workflow. Now, by the end of this video, you'll either know how to build a version of this yourself or whether it's something that could potentially be right for your business. If you're new here, we're Dan and Nate. We build and break down real automation projects for construction businesses. So let's get into it. So Nathan, explain what was actually happening at this business before we got involved. All right, so basically they had a spreadsheet and it worked, kind of, but maybe for the first 10 to 15 pieces of equipment. But when you've got 50 plus assets, multiple job sites, 3 people monitoring the same spreadsheet, and you're not just trying to track where is this, but when is this going to need a service? Or when does the registration expire? That's when a spreadsheet starts falling apart fast. And the alternatives they could have gone with, Assignar, JGID, some of the enterprise platforms, those start at $300, $400, even $600 a month. That's a real cost for a business of this size. Now, what they didn't need was a $600 a month SaaS platform, but more like a purpose-built system that matched exactly how they work. And that's exactly what we built. All right, so a bit earlier, I showed you guys the state of that spreadsheet that the crane company were using. And now this is what we've got out of that. So this is Airtable. It's a very good platform for setting up live databases. And so I essentially took all of that messy data from the spreadsheet and transferred it into this live database so that they now have an accurate and an easy to understand database to view each time. So just to give you a quick rundown of what you're actually seeing. So this is the equipment table. So this is basically outlining each unit number within their fleet. So we've got cranes, boom lifts, scissor lifts, telehandlers, forklifts, and vehicles. It gives the model, serial number, and current location of these unit numbers. It also gives information like the unit hours, the year it was built, 10-year inspection. And so basically it's just a quick summary of what each unit number is, and then any other up-to-date information that it may need in here. Now, the service records table really does dictate a lot of the workflows that I'm gonna be showing you, and it's because a lot of these workflows are actually monitoring this specific database. So you can imagine with the service records table here, we're obviously looking for when the next due date for its service is gonna be due. But when you're talking about a crane, you're not just talking about the 90-day inspection, you're also talking about the 6-month inspection and even the crane safe as well. And so in this database, we've got the equipment actually linked back to this table here. And then we've got information like the service type, the dates that it was serviced, then the next due date, and then other relevant information such as the hour meter reading, if there's any unit kilometers that the technician notes down when he does his inspections, and then a document link. And so basically a document link is actually where the inspection reports, once the mechanic fills out his inspection reports, they're gonna get sent into a drive folder, and they can also access it via this link. But I'll actually get to that in a moment and show you guys exactly what that process looks like. But just to quickly skim through the other ones, we got breakdowns. So breakdowns is obviously just when something breaks down, they wanna log that in here. Your engine services, your 6-month services, and your vehicles. And that's all you guys really need to know in terms of how this Airtable database is structured. The service activity log is basically just any service that gets done on any unit number at any time will get logged into this database here. So it's just a manual tracking page to ensure that we have some historical data if we ever needed to go and pull that out. The last thing is the inspection report. Now this is the output of the mechanic going and filling out a form. And so what I'm gonna show you now is actually the interfaces that we've got set up with this, specifically for mobile. The reason being is that a lot of mechanics aren't typically on laptops and they like to navigate off phones. And so what I was able to do with Airtable, and this is why I love this platform, because there's just so much flexibility and customization that you can do to really make it your own and suit whatever you need for this specific purpose. And so if I go over to the interfaces here, you'll see that I've actually got the inspection report form right here ready to go. And so what used to be an inspection getting filled out from a paper document, taking a photo, sending it to the admin uploading that file to the folder, and then needing to retrieve it whenever they have to send it over to the builder. And so what this form does is it keeps this entire process digitalized. And the importance of that is that you've always got a manual tracking record now, and there's no double handling, there's no additional manual admin that has to be done. And so what the mechanic would be doing here is basically just going and filling out the necessary information. So like the unit number, the job number, the date, the hour meter, and basically go through, and they'll just go through their inspection checklist. They'll tick all of these off. Obviously, if there was any issues, they would be flagging it. But let's just say the unit number is all good to go. They would just click on create, and the information from that form now gets transferred over into this table here. And from that table, it now triggers a workflow. And this is where I'm going to get into explaining to you guys how this is actually working behind the scenes. Hey guys, quick one. If you're a business owner and you want a system like this built for your business, we can help. Use one of the links down in the description to go to twinstream.ai, hit the contact page, book a discovery call, and we can have a chat. But if you're here to learn how to build this yourself, then stick with us, because we're about to show you how it happens behind the scenes. So once that form's filled out and the form response gets populated into this table, it'll then trigger the form submission workflow. And so obviously this may look a bit complex, but in simple terms, this workflow will then analyze, okay, they've just filled out a form. Let me figure out what equipment type it was, what the latest service record was. So let's say they've gone and created a 90-day inspection. They put today as the date. This workflow will go and update that specific record. So let's go back to here, and let's say we've gone with BL01 and we've put the date as the 25th of the 2nd, 2026. And so what this information will now do is it'll go and trigger the workflow. So it's going to say, okay, we've got BL01. The date is the 25th of the 2nd, 2026. And the inspection type was a 90-day inspection. So it's now going to go over to the service records tab. It's going to go to BL01, the 90-day inspections, and it's going to update this date service record here. So let's just test that out and let's have a look at how it goes. So we can see there, we've got all green ticks, which is great to see. We'll go back here and you can see it's now been updated. We got date service 25th of the 2nd, 2026. We've got the next due date is the 26th of the 5th, 2026. So this workflow will actually determine, okay, it's a 90-day inspection. I need to add 90 days to the date that it was just serviced. So you can see there, this is saying calculate the next due date, and it's got specific calculations set up. So as you can see here, we've got 90-day inspection. It's going to add 90 days. If it's an annual service, it'll add 365. If it's a 6-month service, it adds 180. And if it's an engine service, then they don't really add any days to that because that doesn't really need a next due date. And so that's basically how this workflow works. The reason I've got all of these additional things going on in here as well is to just update some of the other tables to include the latest hour meter reading. And so you can see there, the hour meter reading has been updated to 5,000. And so I just want to keep that consistent across all of the tables so that it has consistent data to work with. And so the last thing that this workflow has actually done is it's gone and created a PDF document that we can now send over to the builder whenever they go and ask for the latest inspection record. And so just checking my emails, I've now got sent an email notification to say that a form has been filled out. It's given me the unit number, the type of service, the date, the next due, and then the hour meter. And then also an option to view the report in Google Drive or to view it down here. And so if we just look at this report, you can see there it's now got this in a structured format so that each time I can go and send this to the builder, they're going to say, yep, they've inspected the unit, it's all good, and it's all up to date. And so that's it. And this is probably the most powerful workflow of this entire setup. And it's because it just gives you easy access to understand exactly where everything is going. It keeps it all digitalized. It sends it to you via an email. It uploads it to your Google Drive for you as well. And so what used to be this messy process is now a clean and structured process that is all set up through this database. I wanted to show you a few of the other workflows that I do have set up as well to help ensure that the mechanic is staying on top of all of his services and ensuring that nothing is going out of date. And so the first one is a daily digest workflow. And so basically what this workflow will do is it'll go and scan the service records, it'll get the equipment details, and then send me a morning digest whenever anything's 30, 14, 7, or 2 days out from its service to ensure that the mechanic is up to date with whatever needs to be serviced in the near future. And so if I just execute this workflow and show you guys what the output of this is, you'll see I'll get a daily service reminder, and this one is overdue. So we've got the CR 102 90-day inspection, and it's 8 days overdue. So any machine that is overdue from its inspection form, you will get an email every single day to tell you it's overdue, you need to get it serviced ASAP. And until you go and update that service, you're going to keep receiving these emails. And so if we look back at the service records, we do have these other machines, but the next due date for when they require a service is not within those intervals that I just mentioned previously. And so we've also got the rego reminder. So we'll just execute this one. So what it's doing here is it's going to the equipment table, it's going to the rego due, and it's sending me an email to say these units require registration. And so let's have a look at that email. We've got daily registration reminders. CR 103 is upcoming within the next 30 days. Then we've also got crane safe reminders. So for all of the cranes, what it'll do is it'll go to the service records. It'll say, okay, we've got CR 101 crane safe, CR 103 crane safe, and we've got the next due date will be the 30th of the 3rd, and the next due date is the 14th of the 2nd. And so it's going to send me a digest email to let me know when these cranes are due for their crane safe. So we've got CR 101 was overdue by 14 days, and we've got CR 103, which was in the upcoming 30 days. So you guys get the understanding. This is really important to be able to stay on top of all of these machines, particularly with companies that have over 50 pieces of equipment. This is just a really clean and easy way to be able to stay on top of all of this. Now, the last one is also a pretty cool one as well, and it does use AI to actually scan incoming reports. And so for crane safe reports, typically they come from a certified crane safe mechanic. So what you can do is go and set your email up so that every time an email comes in from that specific person, it's going to be a crane safe report. The AI is then going to scan that attachment, which is typically the crane safe document, and it's going to find out, okay, yep, it's CR 101. It was serviced on this date, and the next due date is going to be a year later. And so what this process also does is it'll upload it to the drive folder, it'll update the service records, and it'll again send you an email. And so the email looks something like this: service record updated, the service type was a crane safe, and it was for this specific machine. And so I hope you guys got a bit of value out of me explaining this to you. One of the very beneficial things about Airtable is that it's also available on mobile. And as I was saying before, some mechanics don't like to work off a laptop. And so we need to be able to accommodate for these people that are completing these tasks. And so with Airtable, I was able to set it up on their app, and they're now able to go and fill out that form and basically do everything from their phone. So where did this land? The system's live right now. Before, 2 people were spending 8 to 10 hours per week manually maintaining the spreadsheet, checking maintenance states, and updating availability. Plus, the occasional missed service that caused a lot of problems. Now after, that same people spent about 20 to 30 minutes on the equipment admin, but the system handles the rest. The reminders, the status updates, the availability tracking. All they have to do is just action the alerts. Now that's roughly like $5,000 to $8,000 a year just in labor cost, depending on how you value that time. And the whole thing literally costs less than $50 a month to run. But it's not just the time saved, it's the efficiency across the whole operation. The builders are happier because they can trust that the gear that is showing up on site is available, which means fewer delays, fewer phone calls, and fewer last-minute scrambles. And that's the real value. Less admin, fewer mistakes, and a smoother day for everyone that's using the equipment, not just the person who's maintaining the register. Now, compare that system to $600 a month for something like Assignar, which, let's be real, has features they'd never use. It requires training and is frankly overkill for a 50-piece fleet. So to recap, Airtable as the single source of truth for all of the equipment. N8N to automate the maintenance reminders, availability tracking, certificate expiry alerts, and the inspection form to PDF pipeline. If you're a crane hire business, a plant hire business, or just any trades businesses that track equipment, this is a starting point that you can actually build on. And if this is something that you'd like us to build for you too, then you can get in contact with us with one of the links down in the description. If this helped you out, subscribe and leave a comment. We'd love to know if this is relevant to anything that you're working with at the moment. But that's it for this video, guys, and see you in the next one.